Okay, so it's been funny to see the reviews for One Battle After Another call the movie shockingly relevant to what's happening right now. And that is true. It really reminds you of how completely irrelevant most Hollywood movies are. And people kind of counter that by saying, yeah, but that's what we go to the movies for. We want entertainment. We want to be transported to a different world. Okay, but every single time, every single weekend, that's all you get. And then the movies that reflect the reality that you live in, one a month, if that. And it's usually a way smaller movie like Eddington, The Apprentice, Rebel Ridge, Sovereign, something that either goes straight to Netflix or it gets a very small theatrical release, or in the case that it gets a major theatrical release, nobody goes to watch it, and then 2 weeks later, it's out of theaters. Ordinarily, if we get movies that speak to the moment we're in that are not that are bigger budgeted, it's an allegory. They'll say like, oh, well, the movie's about zombies, but it's really about colonialism. And they hide it in the allegorical thing. And this is flipped from what it used to be. We didn't used to be a nation drowning in Comic Con. Sci-fi, fantasy, horror, they had movies like that, but it was a treat. It was maybe once a month or something. It wasn't every single weekend and the only movies that people would go watch in a movie theater. And now the dramas and the kind of everyday life movies that Hollywood was built on and they got really good in the 70s and the 90s, those movies are now like, okay, that goes to streaming. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe it should go straight to Netflix. Maybe I won't watch it at all. Flop after flop after flop. Those movies come out and nobody goes to watch them, which is another video that I might make for another day. But this is the first time since Civil War that we've seen a big budgeted action-packed movie, and this is even bigger budgeted and better. It's a big star. It's a real marketing budget, even though you tell people One Battle After Another and they say, oh, what's that? I hadn't heard of that. What is that? You're getting kind of frustrated telling people 3 and 4 times, and I don't know why it's not sticking with them. So this is what the people who love this movie, this is what we got to do. We got to tell people, go watch this. It's good. Really get the word out. Word of mouth needs to be strong for this so people will go see it. And it's a big star, a major studio, Warner Brothers, for as long as it can stay out of the Ellison dynasty. The Ellison dynasty has gobbled up Paramount. They would like to gobble up Warner Brothers, which I'm sure means we'll never see movies like Sinners or One Battle After Another ever again. If they're able to do that, we'll just get the same sequelized garbage and bullshit. And then we'll be left solely to the devices of hoping that A24 can keep somehow squeezing blood from a stone and getting movies like The Brutalist and Civil War, decent sized budgets to be made, but there'll never be a movie made like this where it's a $130 million gamble. And that's why people really need to support this and go see it. Paul Thomas Anderson is a director that I loved in the late 90s and early 00s. He made great movies like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, but I haven't really loved one of his movies in almost 20 years. And the weird thing is that the weakest movie he's ever made is probably Inherent Vice, which was also based on a Thomas Pynchon novel. And this is also based on a Thomas Pynchon novel, and you think, oh God, here we go, this is going to be the same thing. But no, it blasts all that 60s, 70s, 80s stuff out the door. I mean, that stuff is relevant to today because it's still same basic political movements that we had back then, but it doesn't date the material by making it a period piece. It says, this is it. This is happening right now. And when they filmed this, they probably had no idea Trump was going to be reelected, that immigration and detainment centers and a militarized takeover and military people using the government for their own personal vendettas and white Christian nationalist groups that are just barely in the shadows, they're almost operating out in public. They would have had no idea that all this stuff could have become so relevant. There's so many things about this, and I think Paul Thomas Anderson, he's not a political filmmaker. He's not even really an ideological filmmaker. So some of the stuff he's doing, I don't even know if he's necessarily doing it on purpose. Like some of the symbolisms, I almost don't want to get into it because I don't want to spoil anything. But scene after scene, I was struck by some of the choices that he made. It does make sense that even the evil and villainous Colonel Lockjaw, he's really just a pawn too. He's just caught up in this game. There are people above him. So the billionaires and the shadowy people, they're using him just like the real life people use the military for their own purposes, even though these military people have 20 times the skills as a bunch of country club racists with their Lacoste shirts sitting around bullshitting in a bunker. But the military people think, oh, these are the bosses because they're so used to taking orders, even though they could overthrow these people easily and take over. But a lot of different things like that. Leonardo DiCaprio is obviously hilarious. It's a very comedic tone for him, which he really excels at these kind of goofier parts that could be one note if anybody else were playing them. Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, they're great. But I really want to draw attention to Tiana Taylor because she's mostly in the first third of the movie and she's amazing. Like you almost can't take your eyes off of her. You see her walk into the screen and just the way she moves. She knows how to incorporate movement into her performance. And you saw that in the Kanye West music video Fade, where she's able to just watching her dance, just mesmerizing. So the fact that she's able to move and make that part of the acting makes me think she could be a real action heroine, and also combine that with drama in a way that we don't see out of a lot of the action heroines that get cast today. And then Chase Infinity in a breakthrough role where you see the same similarities as her daughter, all grown up years later. Also can't take your eyes off of her, but in a different way. Her eyes, the vulnerability in that. This movie, I don't even really want to talk about it because I'd rather you go see it and not use this video review as an excuse to be like, oh, I didn't like that one sentence he said, so I don't think this movie's for me. Please just go watch it. It has twists and turns. I didn't really know where it was going to go next. I enjoyed just being in a movie theater and watching it unfold, and then we're following a master at the height of his powers as he just shows us scenes that feel random, but they have that flow through them, just like real life, like you're watching a 70s masterpiece that got lost and then it's been resurrected somehow. I definitely wasn't expecting to see a movie this relevant made and come out this year at a time when the media is being censored left and right.